Hi, this is Hilda Maldonado, and I'm the program director at Green Island Neighborhood Center. And you're watching What's Up Worcester.
What's up, Worcester? This is Echo from A Word from Echo and Friends, Worcester's good news girl. If it's good for you, if it's good for me, if it's good for the community, let's talk about it. And today we're here with our friends from the Green Island Neighborhood Center, and we are speaking with Hilda, the program manager, Lorraine, also known as Miss Mayor. If there's information you need to know about Green Island or its history, that's your go to source. And Naum, and that's another person that you can find to help you when you walk through the doors.
Hi, everyone. Like you said, I'm the program director from Green Island Neighborhood Center. And thank you very much for having us here today.
Okay, I'm Lorraine, and I am the chairperson of the Green Island Residents Group, Inc., and I'm known as the mayor of Green Island. And I wrote a book on the history of Green Island from the time it started up until 1985. And I've been involved in the Green Island neighborhood since 1981.
Wow, fantastic.
Hi, my name's Naum. I am the office assistant at Green Island Neighborhood Center. I'll be the one mostly greeting and helping people figure out where the necessity is, and we help each other a lot at Green Island. Me and Hilda try to divide the work as best we possible. So yeah.
So some of you may be wondering, where is the Green Island Neighborhood Center located? I myself was shocked to find out that right at Crompton Park, right next to the pools, that giant brick building that we all look at and wonder what's in there is the Green Island Neighborhood Center. I happened to be there and get a tour, and it was phenomenal. When I walked in the door, I was greeted by the lovely presence of Naum and Hilda. It's a great place to be. You guys, you can get more than food there. This is not just a food center. So if you're looking for food pantries and you're going all the way across town to someplace else and you live in the Crompton Park area, Green Island Neighborhood Center is definitely where you want to be. And Hilda, why don't you tell us about the resources that you offer there?
Yes, yes. And it's amazing to have a community center like this, right, in the community. And the good thing of Green Island Neighborhood Center is like we not only have a food pantry, but also we offer other services as case management. We help with donation, including donation. We also work with the furniture donations with other agencies. If somebody's looking for assistance for benefits, we help them, and we try to provide the service, or we can connect them with other organizations that have support.
So, Nam, if someone was looking for like help with like DTA or immigration or case management or clothing or shelter or furniture, they would walk in the door, they would see you, and then you would point them in the right direction.
So yeah, I will most likely point them in the right direction. I'll get the resources that I have in my hands and then make sure that I give them those resources at their hands. So if it's like a DTA application, I will go through the application with them step by step. That's what we gotta do.
I know there's so many people in our community who need help and they just don't know how to access it, right? Maybe they don't have the support, they don't have the technology. Maybe English is not their first language and they're in need of help. Hilda is fluent in Spanish and Naum is fluent in Portuguese.
I'm also fluent in Spanish and Portuguese.
Spanish and Portuguese. That's excellent. All right. So, Miss Lorraine, when it comes to the history of Green Island Neighborhood Center, you said since 1981 you've been there.
Yes.
So, starting from the bottom, now we're here, right?
Okay.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about the neighborhood center, where it started,
Okay.
and where you've seen it grow since then, and where you hope to see it go even further?
Okay. Well, it was 1965, and we had the war on poverty with President Johnson, and they wanted to give the poor people a chance. So they had grants. And it was Father Tinsley, Edmund Tinsley, and Monsignor Batista, and the bishop, Bishop Harrington from Catholic Charities, and they wrote a proposal to have neighborhood centers. And because Catholic Charities brought this idea up and they wrote the grant, they let the agency have a neighborhood center. And this was the start of the Worcester Community Action Council too.
Yes.
Okay, with the Green Island Neighborhood Center, okay, they needed, well, first it started as a Head Start. And where it started was at the St. Anthony's Church, right at Kelly Square on Madison Street, which is now the Silver Gulf Station. And more and more people came, you know, they started off helping children. And as more people came, they figured there was a need. So on the second floor of St. Anthony's Church, which was an old factory building, they decided to come up with a neighborhood center. And they needed a name. Well, they were standing in the island, and that goes way back to the Blackstone Canal, where it was basically the island that became a neighborhood. And he became Monsignor Tinsley, but he was Father Tinsley then. He looked up, and of course he knew the neighborhood because he grew up near Vernon Hill Park, and he looked up the street and he had Green Street. So he put the green and the island together, and that's how the neighborhood got its name.
That's amazing. That's a great
Yeah.
piece of history.
And that's how the neighborhood center got its name, and it continued and grew. It had a few different places where it was located, but right in the immediate area. And way back in, 1981, we had Parks Commissioner Tom Taylor, and he had this building in Crumpton Park, which was a burnt out shower house. Because in the olden days, the people did not have hot running water.
I thought that building was a part of the pools, and I thought it was for like when you go to any normal public park like Vernon, there's the showers, there's the bathroom. So I always assumed that center was an extension of the pools.
Well, it was a shower house for the neighborhood where for 5 cents, they'd get a bar of soap and they'd get a towel.
Wow, bring it back. Take it
So,
back.
so then, but no, in 1981, Tom Taylor had spoken and Catholic Charities was willing to go, and the idea was to have the neighborhood center move down to the park. So we had a Crompton Park planning group, and what they came up with is to have the neighborhood center move down to the park, and they would have like a community room where they could, serve elderly meals. They had a place set up for a medical clinic and offices, and that goes way back now. They started in, say, 1965 in the Kelly Square St. Anthony's Church, but in 1981 they were making plans to move down to the park. And on September 27th, let me see, I think it was 1984.
You really are
They
a
moved-
Green
they-
Island
yeah.
encyclopedia.
They moved into the building down at Crompton Park, and they've been there ever since. And they've suffered some flooding because the island isn't the island, without the water. And it's been there ever since. And I firmly believe that because we moved with the help of the city into the park, that's why we still have a neighborhood center, because many neighborhood centers in Worcester had closed, and Green Island Center continues. And the last time we had a flood, I think was in 2016, and it put us out of commission for almost 3 years. They had to strip the walls down because of
And then the
OSHA and
pandemic hit
everything.
shortly after that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the city had faith in the neighborhood center, and they worked it out, and they fixed up the neighborhood center. And it's been open ever since, and Hilda took over, which is good because in the olden days, when they were located on Milbury Street across from the municipal parking lot, we had a secretary heading. And she spoke Polish. And in those days, a lot of the Polish people were coming over, sending their, sending for their families. So she could interpret for them and get them the kind of help they wanted. And now more and more Spanish people are coming into the neighborhood. And Hilda and I, Naoma there. So it's like they're serving a new generation of people new to the neighborhood and to Worcester.
Well, I love how you're culturally smart enough in the community to adjust to the community that you're serving. I know Hilda's been a blessing. How long have you been working here for?
Well, exactly in 2019, I would say October of 2019 is when I first time came to the Green Island Neighborhood Center. I started as a assistant program director. That was right after the reopening after the flood. That was closed for 3 years, and then I would say like a little bit more than year, almost 2 years. I'm being like the program director of Green Island Neighborhood Center, and but the first time they opened the door was in 1965, I believe, as the Green Island Opportunity Center.
Yeah, but that was at St. Anthony's Church.
Yes, and the opportunity is still there. So we're
Yeah.
trying to be open for the community and create new programs for the families and serve them.
Now, about how many families per month or so do you say that you serve there?
Okay, no.
Well, in that case, it's a little hard to tell. Mostly,
Month,
In a
week, day,
month.
whatever number you can come up with.
let's say in a month, we probably serve about 100 and something families.
That's amazing.
Yeah, yeah. And right now we have like 200
We have 276 of clients.
around there.
We probably have a little bit more
Mhm.
since we just got a couple new
Yeah.
clients today.
Yes, yes,
And
yes.
what do you say is the most utilized resource there?
So most of the utilized services are food pantry or clothing. I would
Okay.
maybe say.
Mhm.
And if we have a family out here right now that's watching and they're located in the neighborhood or not in the neighborhood and they're in need of your services, what's the best way to access? Do they call? Do they register? Do they walk in? Tell us about your process.
Okay, if they can come into the center, that's the best way, so we can take an intake and
So walk in.
we can familiarize with the client, see what is the need. We do a very simple process. They can fill it out intake form, and some of the documentation they can bring is the photo ID, the proof of address, proof of income, and proof of the size of the family. However, we don't deny systems to nobody. If they come for emergency food, we help them, and we always receive any family that have the need.
So anybody who is in need can walk in and get these services. Ideally, you're going to want to have with you some sort of form of ID, some sort of form of address, and some sort of form of any income you make. However, if you don't have this information, they're still going to help you. Now, Naomi, I have a question. Do you often find that families come in looking for one resource and then get pointed in the direction of other resources once they're speaking to you? They realize there's so much more for us to access.
Yeah, because they first come to the center for a food pantry, they don't know any other services that we provide.
And then like me, they're like, oh my gosh, you do, they were
Uh-huh.
wild. Like,
Yeah.
really?
Yes.
Really?
That
So-
happened to us today. So
Yeah.
yeah, and all the time.
So what
Yeah,
happened today?
We literally just go through the steps. We explain that everything that we do. Do you need any other services? We'll most likely to help you. We won't deny you the service. And if you don't want to do it the same day because you want to take a little bit of time or break, we will help you any day.
This is great. Yeah, sometimes help or asking for help is overwhelming. So to be able to walk into a place being greeted by fabulous people like you who are going to offer you assistance above and beyond what you came in, it makes it comfortable to get the help. Because I don't know about you, sometimes like I've been in situations, I think we all have where we need help, and maybe we're a little ashamed, maybe we're a little embarrassed, maybe we're a little guilty to help. But how much easier is it if someone says, "Here, let me help you," and they reach out that hand to you? And that's to me what the Green Island Neighborhood Center is. It's a hand that reaches out to the neighborhood and welcomes them in a very friendly manner.
Yes, we want to treat people within meeting and listen to them, that they feel comfortable. They're already there. If they're there because they have the needs, so we want to serve. this community.
Thank you for tuning in to What's Up Worcester. Make sure you follow up with us. We will be right back in just a minute. And we're back. Thank you for tuning in to A Word from Echo and Friends, Worcester's Good News Girl. If it's good for you, if it's good for the community, we're here to talk about it. And we are here with our friends from the Green Island Neighborhood Center. And we are talking about everything fabulous about this local neighborhood center that is located in the Crompton Park area. If we had a family that was wanting to come and get their resources, you said there's a phone number and we need to talk about the address. What is the exact address? 'Cause I keep saying Crompton Park, next to the pools, next to the basketball court. What's the address and what's the phone number?
50 Canton Street. We are at 50 Canton Street, Worcester, Massachusetts, 01610. And the phone number,
The phone number is 508-890-2737.
And we were talking about resources now. The only way to access these resources, the only stipulation is you have to be from Worcester. Other than that, I know there's a service area.
Yes, there is a service area and the boundaries are basically Union Station, Providence Street, in back of the WRTA building on Quinsigamon Ave. And the other boundary would be basically where Quincy Village starts in the where the old Millbury, the old Ballard Street in Millbury, and they have the visitor center there. So that's a wide service area. There are a few other neighborhood centers like the Quincy Village, and Friendly House is, I guess you'd call the mother of the neighborhood centers. But that covers a big neighborhood, which is basically Green Island and a good part of the Vernon Hill neighborhood.
So if someone were to come in and they were outside of the service area, would you still assist them? Would you redirect them to other help? What is the process if someone comes in unknowingly and they're like, okay, great, up here, I found you guys, and it just happens to be out of the service location? What's the steps for that?
I mean, we still, if they live in Worcester, they can become a client. However, like I said before, we don't deny food, we don't deny the service to nobody. If any case that somebody's out of Worcester, we can locate a food pantry from the
Redirect them to sources that are considered.
and connect them with them. But we try to focus on Green Island. That's our area. And we always try to provide them what is the resources.
I love that. I love that. So Miss Mayor, the mayor of Green Island, give you your proper respect.
Thank you.
So you are on the chair. You are also on a resident group. Can you tell us about the resident group?
Okay.
What it does, how it affects the community, and if it's open to the public, and how people could join so that they could impact their community?
Okay, well, Green Island Neighborhood Center was never incorporated. But they did have a resident council and then they changed it to like Green Island Residents Group. We had a businessman, in fact, he was, I guess, more in the social service category, Paul Grossbeck, who ran the Housing Information Center, which was on Millbury Street, and he was becoming a lawyer, so we incorporated the resident group. And it came in handy, and this is the early 1980s, because the city had a plan to do a big sewer project to try to help out some of the flooding in the other parts of the city, and of course, Green Island. So let's just say the Green Island Residents Group Inc. helped the neighborhood overcome some of the problems we would have had if we didn't have the resident group, like trying to have the people whose houses were coming down at least relocate into, in another place in the neighborhood, and to have our bank, which was gonna be taken down, move on it was on Honey Street, it moved over to Millbury Street. And I came up with the slogan, putting the green back in the island.
Oh, I
Meaning,
love that.
meaning, you're gonna take
That's
the
her
businesses
soul.
and yeah.
That's her soul.
So anyway, and then in 1981, the neighborhood center was approached by Tom Taylor, the Parks Commissioner for Crompton Park, and of course, Catholic Charities was the agency, and of course, they were happy to hear the offer. So we had a Crompton Park planning group, and we presented the plans, and the people helped tell what they wanted in the
So you're the unified
so-
community voice for
Yeah,
Green Island, and you guys are
yeah.
actually impacting change
Yeah.
in the actual community.
And then another issue in Green Island was elderly housing, and they had tried 3 times to get housing in the neighborhood. One of the things was that St. Anthony's Church had come down, the diocese, had closed the church. There was one site they were considering. They were also considering down at the old Lambertine Street School over on Mead Street and Lambertine, but they threw that out because Wyman Gordon's was there, and the neighborhood used to shake because of the hammers. But there was a piece of tax title property in the neighborhood, and Jeff Mulford was the head of what they used to call OPCD, Office of Planning and Community Development. He was later to become the city manager, and he worked with the Worcester Housing Authority, and they got a grant to build elderly housing on the corner of Millbury and Lafayette Street. So that was another victory that would give people in the neighborhood a chance to go into the housing for the seniors. And it's still in existence, and it's the tallest building in the neighborhood.
You're on the ground floor of some amazing work in that community.
And
Great
and then we've done other things like petition for sidewalks, and we were hoping that we could, I guess, stabilize the neighborhood, because it had lost a lot way back in the 1950s, because they had the I-290, the expressway go through. So that basically cut the heart out of the neighborhood, especially the commercial district. So, we encouraged and supported businesses that were on Millbury Street. And at one time, we had a couple of pharmacies, about 4 or 5 small markets, fruit stores, bakeries and everything. So we wanted to try to keep the neighborhood intact as much as possible. And when Green Island Center moved down to the park, we became more active. We had meetings and crime watches and ethnic festivals with the old Summers World right in Crompton Park. And what we're working on now is, because we lost the bank closed in a few locations that were convenient. So we're working on trying to put the word out that we would like a real bank with a building where you walk in and you have tellers. And we're talking about some more renovations. One of the new additions to Crompton Park is the skate park.
Yes.
And of course, we attended some of those meetings. And the city has been very good. And now we're working on an issue to to make Endicott Street more accessible and make like an entrance on Bigelow Street, which is now currently just a path and a space in the fence, and to see if we can make that more inviting. So that's another one of the projects, but it's basically, and it could be summed up with the sewer project, and it fits now more than ever. To put the green back into the island. And the fact is, the green with the park renovations, they refurbished Cozy Court.
Yes.
And they take good care of Green Island Neighborhood Center. I refer to them as the landlord. And and thanks to former city manager Ed Augustus, in 2019, he came down to Green Island and he had a sign and it said Green Island Boulevard. So that's up by the development across from Polar Park. And he allocated $3 million of block grant money over the next 5 years to put the green in the island.
I love
Not just the money, but also they want to do some more trees and make the neighborhood cooler because of heat islands. So the putting the green back in the island is coming up again.
I love it.
So and I would say that if you want to describe the Green Island Residents Group Inc., it's basically residents working with neighborhood residents to make the neighborhood better. And one of I guess the chief priority is keeping Green Island Center going with its services and, activities, because the neighborhood center is the heartbeat of the neighborhood.
Well, speaking of putting the green back in Green Island, I know that you guys are always looking for and accepting donations, right? They are a food bank. They serve about 200 plus families. They serve about 100 plus families a month. And they're looking for donations, especially for their pantry. What type of non-perishable items are you looking for? And how can, if you're an agency that has food or access to food and you'd like to collaborate, they're also looking for collaborations to continue to help consistently feed the community. So what type of donations are we looking for? And if there is an agency out there that has access to food and they want to collaborate, how do they reach out to do that with you?
Yeah, we not only accept no perishable items, also protein, for example, like meat. But in no perishable items could be rice, cans, canned goods. Also, we can receive beans and pasta.
Anything you'd
things
find
like
in a
that.
pantry
Yup,
that
yup.
can feed a family.
Yes, and also, I mean, with money, with checks, you can give a check donation too.
You can give a check donation, you can give a grocery store
Yes.
gift card or donation. That's always helpful.
Yeah, yes. And we always want to help the community somehow, right?
Yeah. We
Yeah.
try to make sure that they get what they need in nutrition wise as well.
Yeah.
So we don't just serve perishable, but that's one of the most substantial things that we need in the food pantry.
That's great.
Yeah.
Now, in terms of working with other agencies, I see you do a lot of collaboration. You had a really big Thanksgiving event
Yeah.
happen. You had over 100 turkeys, correct?
To around 300
Yeah.
meals for the family.
300
Yeah.
turkey meals, resources. The radio station came out, city officials came out. It was really a community event that was made possible through collaboration of community members who care, agencies that supported. So again, collaboration is key. This is our community center. This is the Green Island Community Center that serves the Crompton Park area and surrounding servicing areas. And if you want to assist in supporting those families, please reach out with canned donations, meat donations, any type of monetary donations or restaurant or gift card donations so that they can continue to purchase food for these families.
Yes, and we always welcome to any sponsorship. In that moment, Thanksgiving event, we had the sponsor of Tough Health Plan at that moment.
Tufts Health
Yeah,
Plan,
and
yeah.
also other organizations who came to
Yeah,
us
so-
to.
What's Up Worcester was there?
Yes. And,
Coming to a community near you.
and of course, Friendly House is we affiliated to Friendly House, and they've been a big support for Green Island Neighborhood Center as well. Yep.
So if there's anything that you guys would have to leave our community with, here's what I want to know. What is the thing you love most about your job, and what would you like the community to love most about what Green Island can provide for them?
So what I love most about my job is the day that I just go in, I help those people that really need it. I see their smile going out those doors saying like, "Oh, thank you so much. We really needed this like help." And then
Gratitude.
this all like
beautiful.
they don't know where exactly they need to go most of the time. So at least even a little bit of direction to help them out helps them a lot in the long run.
And what would you like families to know?
Uh, if they can stop by Green Island Neighborhood Center, we're open Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Anyone's welcome. We're not going to deny any help.
It's accessible, it's equitable, anybody can walk in from 9 to 4 p.m. and Nahum is definitely going to enjoy helping you compassionately and putting a smile on your face. Hilda, what about you? What is the part that you love most about your job, and what do you want to leave our families with?
I love serving the community, making difference in people's life. And like Naum says, that they leave the center with a smile and not with the empty hands. And find us in social media. We are in Facebook and Instagram as Green Island Neighborhood Center. And we open Monday to Friday, 9 to 4. And also our food pantry hours are Tuesdays, Wednesday, and Thursdays.
And families need to access the food pantry. Is it a once a week thing, a once a month thing? What is the limitation on someone who needs help, and how many times can they visit for food help specifically? Because as we know, the world is food insecure right now.
Yes, yes, of course. And I mean, people can get a full groceries, complete groceries once a month, but also they have the opportunity to come once a week for fresh.
For fresh side.
Mhm.
So like she said, once a month we get a full, which is including non-perishable and perishable items all together for once a month, and then once after that, every week you can go and stop by for anything fresh, vegetables, fruit, milk.
Wow, wow, that's amazing. That's
Yes.
amazing.
Mhm.
All right, and Miss Lorraine, the mayor of Green Island, you get our final words. What do you love most about what you do in serving the community, and what would you love to leave our community with as a lasting impression about the Green Island Neighborhood Center?
Well, like the name says, Green Island Neighborhood Center. So it's basically neighbors working with neighbors in their own neighborhood to meet their needs. There's socialization, there's, job help and everything. So it's like, you
It
go,
takes a
you go,
village.
it takes a village, yeah, and it's like you're go into your family, because Green Island Center is like a family. I call it like Little House on the Prairie.
I
the
felt
little-
that way when
the
I
little-
walked
yeah,
in
the
the
little,
door.
the
I
little
just
house
felt
in the
it.
park, and it's for the neighborhood, by the neighborhood, and the neighborhood. The physical neighborhood benefits, and we're so happy that the city supports the Green Island Neighborhood Center, and we're very thankful for all the help we get from Friendly House.
Well, here you go, guys. We're very thankful for the help we get from the Friendly House, from the community, from the collaborating agencies, but most importantly, the Green Island Neighborhood Center couldn't exist without you, the community, and the help that you provide. So come on out and get your help, but also come donate, be a part, figure out how you can give back. You can contact Hilda. And again, the address and the phone number.
50 Canton Street, Worcester, Massachusetts 01610.
Phone number 508-890-2737.
And it's right in Crompton Park, in back of the swimming pool.
That's right. Well, what's up, Worcester? This is Echo, and this has been a word from Echo and friends. I'm Worcester's good news girl, and if it's good for you, if it's good for me, and if it's good for the community, we're here to talk about it.